connecting to this entity that was Neville Goddard. I could almost channel it. I was never going to do that like in a public forum, but I felt like he was sitting right there with me.
Wow.
And he would like comment like, and help me along my path. That's what I felt like. I had this connection to Neville, like he was there with me. It was another part of it. It was interesting as I taught.
Welcome back to Starseed Essence Media. I'm Eva Rozier, your host. Today I'm honored to be joined by Brian Scott, creator of Reality Revolution, one of the most influential platforms exploring consciousness, manifestation, spirituality, and the hidden nature of reality. For years, Brian has guided millions of listeners through profound teachings inspired by Neville Goddard, the Law of One, reality transurfing, ancient wisdom traditions, and modern consciousness research. Throughout thousands of podcasts, meditations, and discussions, he has helped people around the world explore the power of the mind, personal transformation, timeline shifting, and humanity's evolving understanding of consciousness. Brian Scott, welcome to Starseed Essence Media. I am so glad that you're here and very happy to talk to you.
Thanks so much for having me, Eva. It's so nice to talk with you.
I just wanted to go ahead and dive in. And for viewers who are discovering your work for the first time, what was the moment that made you realize consciousness might be shaping reality in ways we don't understand?
You know, I'm asked that question a lot, and it really isn't a single moment. I think for many of us, we start to realize that consciousness is affecting reality over a string of little moments. Over time, it becomes obvious to us. Numerous moments where I become aware that something I did within myself in consciousness is now being reflected to me outside of me. Because if it happened just once, the mind is very good at making up an excuse and finding a reason. But when you see a string, a pattern over a period of time, then you start to say, hey, something's going on here. I have a direct effect on reality around me through my consciousness. I've had some big things happen where I was able to achieve and experience specific things that I guided through my own consciousness. But those happened later after I'd sort of accepted that, hey, okay, something's going on here. When I started working on this, it was a hope. I had nothing else. I had lost everything. And so it was like, I sure hope that I can change my reality because everybody says I can. So I'm going to try because I have nothing else I have no other options available to me. And so then when I started experimenting and working with this and started to see changes, then I could see, hey, what they've been saying is true all along.
Mm-hmm. I know for me, you were like the only thing I watched for years, really, honestly. Like I was driving to work, I'd listen to your podcast. I mean, I'm talking about every day. Reality Revolution. I was really involved for a little while there.
I'm honored. Thank you. I know you've been around for a while. You've made comments and been with us for a long time. So I appreciate your support.
Well, thank you. And I know that you used to have a bookstore and you ended up closing that bookstore. Before or during that time or before that time, you had some sort of incident happen where you were shot at or something like that. I can't remember exactly. Can you tell that story where you almost feel like you were, that was a huge like quantum leap and shift in time or something?
Yeah. Well, I went through a period where I seemingly lost everything. My kids weren't with me anymore. I lost the love of my life. I was dead broke. And it looked like I was going to have to go bankrupt. I couldn't even afford the bankruptcy attorney. It was just, I was in straight debt and I had no alternatives. And it felt like, you know, I was at a point like I didn't want to move on anymore. So I took what knowledge I had and started really applying these techniques, going into deep meditation, hoping that I could change my circumstances purely through my consciousness. And I started to see these huge changes. It started to really work. I changed my business. I found the love of my life and my world started to really change. And right as this happened, I'm watching the Super Bowl with my girlfriend, and it's late at night, and some kids broke into the house I was living in, and one of them just shot me, and the bullet bounced off my back, and in this moment, I felt like the whole multiverse ripped open for me, and I could see all the different paths that this became a hinge point. And I could see that from that moment, there were many different versions of me that died. I could see them. I was in this space where all the different possibilities become available to me. So what from that point on, and I survived, doctors said didn't even, enter there. It was sort of a miracle. The bullet had gone through glass and bounced off my back, was right at a certain angle. So when I woke up that next day, I first of all began to see a world that was different than the one I was in. I was convinced that this reality that I was walking around in was not the same one that I had originally been in. Objects in the house were different. People contacting me were different. The world that I was in was seemingly different. The movies were different. And so, a little bit of it was, am I going insane? So, but then I was like, I'm glad I made it. Yeah. But I made a commitment that, hey, I'm still alive and I shouldn't be. So this is more than just me now. It's more than just me, manifesting what I want. It's like, can I make a difference for others? And so that's what really inspired me to go the next step and say, I can take what I've learned and teach it to others, share it with others, write a book about it. That was sort of the catalyst for me that said, this is not just about me anymore. Maybe I can use what I've learned and help others. Yeah.
This your book. I love this book.
I'm super excited. I have another book coming out finally with a big publisher. We're going to take some of those concepts and take it to the next level. So that's just the beginning. So I'm super excited about that. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's just the beginning. You've done so much already. You've taken things to the next level. It's just like, I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a few questions I kind of wrote down and outlined, and I wanted to kind of touch base with the Neville Goddard, the Law of One, reality transurfing, and just how you basically, okay, as far as your family, and when you started this, like, how did your family react, like, with the skepticism on what you were doing? I know, a lot of us kind of, whenever we shift from what we did know and how we were to this other realities, it's kind of like you get pushed back and looked at a little bit different.
Yeah.
How was that for you?
Well, the truth is, I don't know if I could have done this if my parents had still been alive. Because I was constantly thinking, hey, what is my mom going to think? What's my dad going to think? What's, and so this sort of started after my parents had passed on. My kids never watch anything. They have no clue anyway. They still don't. I mean, they've been to my events and they're like, "Whoa, Dad! I didn't know you even talked." They had I was surprised. Like, I thought you could have at least watched one of my videos at some point. Jeez, never watched. But I really don't have my. There's some family friends I've kind of heard through the grapevine, but if you're in a position where you want to, start talking about woo-woo and sharing about subjects, don't worry about your family. You may think it's important, but it's not. That's the thing. Some people I meet that really have a lot to offer. Some super smart people, healers, teachers, will avoid going on and talking about things because their kids or their cousin or their friends, and they sort of stop themselves. Forget about that. That doesn't matter. Most of the time, you don't even have to tell anybody. Most of the time, nobody will know. Right? You just share your world, and I promise you, there's a place for it. And don't be worried about what other people think. That's a big thing. I've gone through my imposter syndrome, and I still do, where I don't feel like I fit with the rest, and that's normal. But if my parents were still alive, or closer family, I might still be editing out and being more specific. Like, I don't know what my mom's gonna think. So I'm kind of thankful they're not around.
Yeah, I get that too, because growing up my dad's a preacher, and I opened a yoga
Right.
studio, so that was all
He
because
wasn't
of you,
happy about
honestly.
that,
Like,
right?
I owe you so much. Thanks for it, because
Oh,
when I started listening to Reality Revelation, like, I had the most transformation. It took, it wasn't just like snap your fingers, but it was like some would take
right.
a few months, some would take right away, some would take, a year. But I
Hmm.
created so much. I became top.
Awesome.
I did all kind. I want to talk about myself, but I did a
I'm
lot
so
that I
proud of you.
wouldn't have. And
Can you
even this,
explain their resistance with yoga? I've heard preachers that get angry that treat
oh,
yoga like it's this
oh yeah,
secret
yeah.
bad thing.
Yeah, no,
You've heard this
I
too,
am in a
right?
little, yeah, I'm a little tiny town, and I started a yoga studio, the first yoga studio here. And I set up at a
Awesome.
festival, and I had a cop walk up to me and tell me that his wife thought yoga was from the devil. And he asked me about that. And I was like, okay, well, I, you
Yeah.
know, I'm not
Stretching
going to tell
is
anybody anything. I'm just going to tell you what I know. And basically, I explained it to my dad. He was very open. He didn't shame
good.
me. He probably thought, okay, this is weird for a little while, but he knew that as long as it made me happy, it made him happy. And like
Good.
anybody out there, if you're wanting to do something like that and you're getting pushed back, love triumphs everything. And a
So
lot of
true.
your parent, I mean, not all of us have loving parents, but at least I have a loving
Hmm.
father. I'm not saying that too much about my mother,
Okay.
but that's okay. But yeah, I loved that. It was all inspired by the Reality Revel. I was following everything,
Wow.
and I was writing a lot. I wrote a lot, journaled a lot, and I've
Mhm.
heard you before say you talk in the shower. You have whole conversations
I
out loud in the
do. I
shower. I
do.
do the same thing. Like the shower's the portal.
It is. It's just too bad I can't get my laptop in there or my phone. You know what I mean?
Well, I get my phone in there
Because
anyway
I get
sometimes.
sometimes, yeah. I'm tempted because some of the best information comes through right there when I'm in the shower.
Well, you have a lot of content on your channel about Neville Goddard. For somebody out there that's
Mhm.
never heard of Neville Goddard, can you just summarize briefly who he is and why he inspired you in this line of work?
Yeah. There's a lot of teachers that teach about the law of attraction and reality creation, but nobody is quite like Neville Goddard, who taught, particularly during the 60s, that imagination creates reality. But he taught it in a very unique way. He wrote some amazing books that are accessible now, but he also did these incredible lectures. And as somebody that had come from a sort of Christian background, he was the foremost of anybody I've read, the foremost expert on the Bible that I've ever encountered. And so he's sort of a translator. He takes what's in the Bible and makes it accessible now beyond what I had understood it as, and using the Bible as a sort of leverage, and then personal stories that he had shared, really convincingly explains why your imagination creates reality in a beautiful way. I think he was an amazing writer and speaker.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, it sort of scratched an itch that I needed scratching, because I had a deep knowledge of the Bible, but it was like, hey, does the Bible teach what I'm teaching? And he clearly, for the first time, unlocked the Bible for me, because as somebody that knows history, that sees the contradictions, I would look at the Bible and say, none of this is true. It's all a big contradiction. The way he
Yeah.
would explain it is that it's all symbolic, and that the characters in the Bible are you, and really unlocked what it meant, that it's not what we think it is, that the stories in the Bible are really about us. The story of Adam and Eve is about you and your subconscious mind. That the story of Jesus is about you awakening to your true potential, that the story of God is about your imagination. And he taught how to create your reality, and the way that he did it just ends up being just much more different than any other teacher, where he taught something called the law of assumption, which is a little different than the law of attraction, a form of imagining where you embody it completely, where you enter through states. And, as I would read these lectures on my channel, I could see that people could really relate to it too, that they found from these lectures a way of understanding their imagination and reality that really was different than anyone else. And as I read, I think I've read about 300 lectures or more on the channel. As I would read these lectures, and I read them a lot with Neville's voice, because a lot of at times I found Neville did lectures that were recorded, but they were terrible recordings that I couldn't really understand. So I felt like, hey, I want people to access these recordings so they can understand them. So I would read for a while on a weekly basis one of Neville's lectures, and I would come out of it with a different understanding, and he would address different aspects. And so it was really a lot about me sharing my own spiritual journey as I expanded my knowledge through Neville. And what was interesting is I felt like Neville was with me after about the 100th lecture, when I would read those lectures, I felt like Neville was right there with me, guiding me to read which lecture. What's that?
He's with us now.
I felt like as I was reading these lectures that Neville was with me, and I could feel his presence, that he was with me. I could hear his voice coming through. So it also became where I was connecting to this entity that was Neville Goddard. I could almost channel it. I was never going to do that like in a public forum, but I felt like he was sitting right there with me. Wow. And he would like comment and help me along my path. That's what I felt like. I had this connection to Neville, like he was there with me. It was another part of it. It was interesting as I taught Neville.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Would you ever consider doing that? Like,
no, I would never channel Neville in a live setting, because he doesn't want me to. He would get mad. I could feel his opposition to that. Like, no, you're not going to do that. No. There's no reason. I'm here to help you. He considers himself one of the brothers. I've also, the most interesting, Neville talks a lot about William Blake, this famous poet came from England, and considered William Blake just one of the apostles, just like anyone else. And I had read one of William Blake's like shorter books for the channel, and after I did, I had this amazing moment while I was brushing my teeth, and then William Blake's right there with me, and it felt so different and when I've had different encounters like that because Neville talks about meeting William Blake. And so I felt like this is either my imagination running through, but it felt like it was this really amazing experience. So later, what was interesting is Neville referred to communicating with the brothers, like he couldn't find his wallet, so the brothers helped him. And then I felt like Neville was one of the brothers with me. Like there was this group of people that had moved on to a higher level. That's what Neville had sort of connected me with. It was really interesting.
Okay, I wanted to tie in the law of one, because you do talk about the law of one, and you have you read from a lot of the channelings of Quo, which are just absolutely beautiful and resonate deeply with me. And just like talk about what channeling is for people that in my audience may not even know what channeling is. Like, what is it exactly? And a little bit of what you know about Law One and Quo, and just messages they were bringing forth. I know that's kind of a loaded question, but
no. I'm fascinated with the literature of channeling, and so there is a long history of channelings from Seth to Abraham into the Law of One, that going through history. And some could argue that the Bible is channeled. And the reason is I found a personal, heart-oriented connection to these channelings. One of the most profound collections of channelings is the Law of One material, delivered in the 80s over a 3-year period in, I think they're in Kentucky. And so this was sort of originated by an airline pilot that had believed in extraterrestrial or UFOs, and believed the only way we could really communicate with them was not through radio signals like SETI, but was through psychic connection. And then for several years started studying how we could create a psychic connection. And after a fairly long period of time, over several years, suddenly they started to receive messages from an entity called Ra. And the Ra gave specific instructions for this channeling. And so the main channeler, after following these instructions, was an unconscious channel, which is different than a normal channel. She's completely out and doesn't remember what's coming through. They recorded these, and they're incredibly fascinating and authentic. The actual material that came through in the channelings is deep, doctoral level, deep information about metaphysics. And forget about the channeling, just information by itself is really, really interesting. And so as I was listening to it, it felt like this is really just something special and unique. Over the 3 years, that the whole volume of the channelings becomes something really amazing that describes our place in the universe, path of our soul, the levels of consciousness that we move towards in our billion-year life cycle as a soul. And so yeah, the entire Law of One, I've done some deep dives on the Law of One. The history of the Law of One is amazing. Carla Ruckert was the primary channel. And then it became this sort of dangerous channel. So the main person that was involved in the channel dies in the process. And so they started doing these channelings through Quo, which seemed a safer, awaking version of channeling, which is just a continuation of the Law of One. So I was honored and have been honored to read the channelings of Quo over several years on a regular basis, just like my Neville. And every time I would read them, it felt like an angel was on my shoulder. These are beautiful, amazing, deep level of channelings talking about what's happening on our path. Just they're amazing channelings, and it's been a real honor to read those. And I've learned so much from them. I myself, over a long period after starting to read these channelings, have started to channel. I still question my channel. I have some channelings who I started channeling my higher self, the Luminous Collective, the operators. I still feel like I'm not a pure channel like some of these channels I talk to. I still feel my presence there. I still feel like I'm halfway there when it's coming through. So for the longest time, I would have channelings come through, and I would never want to claim that it was anything other than me. So you might hear some episodes where it sounds like something else is coming through Brian right there. Slowly over time, I've started to understand it. It's a really interesting to do. The channeling is also an interesting way of understanding how channeling works. And as you have, I've had the opportunity to talk with some channels and meet with them and really understand the process. I really feel like that in the future, these communications will become more and more interesting as we awaken into a sort of new earth, that these entities will become more and more authentic, and they're a source of information that we can access. And I'm fascinated by all of it. Now, sometimes these channeled entities, they don't seem authentic. I'll be listening to them like, nah, they don't feel like they're legitimate or authentic to me. And then sometimes they just blow my mind. And so what I always say is, you are the one that has to decide what you feel about this channeling. When you hear it, don't give them the ultimate authority. Don't act like they are the know-all, be-all. You have to play a role in the process. You decide whether it resonates with you or not, which is what Quo tells you. Quo is always saying, hey, you play a role in this. If you don't feel like this resonates with you, forget about it. Some people will treat channeling like it's the be-all, end-all, and so it's just another source of information, and you decide how you want to integrate the information that you receive from it. That's how, if you do that, then you can really learn a lot from this information as you receive it. At least that's been my experience.
Yeah, that's very true. I know for me, I've played around with it too, and I channel guided meditations. They just come through me. They'll come through me so fast, and I step out of my way, like Eva's here, but I'm still there, but I'm just, words are coming through, and it's just information, and you just open your channel, use the reality transurfing. Oh my gosh, all of that too. I can get into that. But using some of the methods that he talks about, and you just channel. You can channel. You can channel a whole scenario for your life and manifest it.
Well, Vadim Zealand from Transurfing was channeling.
Yes.
Later on, when you read his books, that the first book was from another entity. Clearly, that's coming through. And then later it's another. So that was a channeled resource as well. That's how I look at it. Yeah.
That book was so good. And so it was like a thick book.
Yeah. What's interesting, as I've started to, for people that don't know, Reality Transurfing is a book written by a sort of quantum physicist that was in Russia. So the language is different. What's interesting is the culture of Russia, for a long period of time, you could go to Serbia. You would be punished if you were religious. If you claimed, hey, I'm Christian, I'm teaching this, or I'm Buddha.
Wow.
So for you to teach this stuff, it had to have some scientific sort of background. When I've done some deep dives on Russian, the KGB and how they were studying psychics and stuff. And so that sort of gave me some background on Vadim Zealand. I suspect now that he might have been a part of that. The government was studying psychic phenomenon. He would never admit it, but I get the impression, because he's sort of vague about where he had come from. I think that they were studying, as in government studying psychic phenomenon, and that he had sort of came from this, and they were scientists studying this, and they had to have a scientific rationale for everything they did. And so that's why the language comes through differently. And I think that something comes from that. I think it's really helpful and interesting. I recommend it for anybody to listen to it. Yeah.
So what, as far as with the Raw and the Law of One, the Quo, what is your, or any channeling, any of the, I know there's hundreds of thousands of them that you've read and talked about, but what is your, if you can pinpoint a most favorite teaching, something that comes to you, and first thing that comes to your mind?
It's really hard to pick a favorite teaching, because what I've found is with all these different teachings, there's a common reference point. They all feel like the same teaching. In terms of channelings, I'm a huge fan of the Law of One, just because of the breadth, the depth, and the complexity of it. It feels like something special came through. And when it comes to reality creation, I'm a huge fan of Neville Goddard. And then reality transurfing sort of unlocked the process of it, helping me to understand things like pendulums and excess potential. And so it's hard for me to nail down one, because each of those teachings was like a puzzle piece. And then I was fitting this puzzle, and they all sort of fit together. So it was hard for me to pick out one. I think they all I find interesting. I'm sort of a junkie for that stuff.
Me too.
I always feel like there's another puzzle piece out there that's going to help.
It is.
I can.
You're just like, that's it. That is it.
Right. Exactly.
What is what he talks about? I can't think of the word of it. Were you feeling in your back? I feel that all the time. What is it called? He called it something.
So he calls it the plat or the plate.
The plate.
There's an right. And interestingly, it's sort of related to the shamanistic teachings, like going back to Carlos Castaneda and some others that taught about something called the assemblage point. This place that exists, shamans would teach, there's this place that exists sort of behind the back, behind the shoulders, that is a sort of a focal point where your reality shifts. And then what Vadim Zealand brought into it was a sort of connection. If you study the Hindu, they would teach something called the bindi. There's this point behind our head, an energy point. And so he would explain that there's an energy braid that sort of connects the back of our head to that assemblage point. And so it became very interesting when he brought this out. It was a very new thing. and he would recommend that you activate this plat after you've imagined something, and you drop it into this. And he sort of used the metaphor that it's like you're loading up film into a projector, and you're creating a new movie, a new script. And so, you know, as you've followed my channel and I've shared some meditations, some people came back to me saying, wow, this is really sort of an amazing technology. And I've had some incredible experiences where I might be at a Starbucks, I'll activate the plat, and I will see everybody in the room turning and looking at me, and I know I've done something in that moment, and I can't describe it. You feel this, you actually, like you're saying, you feel it. You feel there's something behind you. What is interesting is
on your back.
The reference to quantum physics. It's an area within our energy field that is not being observed. It's sort of more quantum because there's no observer to it. So it has that quantum. It's a place in our energy body where we're accessing the quantum field that would naturally be. It's a part of us we can't see, that we can't observe, we can sort of feel into. It's sort of it's that one place that's near the quantum. And so I continuously use, I just did a meditation I recorded last night where I threw in the plat. It's really something I'm fascinated by. I think someday we'll be able to monitor the energy body and we'll see it.
I believe it. I feel it a lot. It tingles in the back, and whenever, especially if I'm meditating and then I'm getting a lot of visuals, I'll feel that, and I'm like, "Ooh, I feel it." I just had a hit. My guides are asking me. I found this little note. It was stuck in your book because I picked it up and opened right to it, and it says the time of Constantine. I like that was a note for me to look that up. Time of Constantine.
Did you look it up?
I didn't. I just found that note. I was like, I don't know what that means. It was
all right. Well, now we got to check it out.
I know, it was something that you said. I wrote it down to look it up, and I never looked it up.
All right.
We're gonna have to look
out
up.
of the many episodes, I might have mentioned Constantine. I don't remember the reference.
Because it was something I was like, oh, I have to look this up. But yeah, I have a lot of folded pages in the book. One of my folded pages is, let's see, let's turn to it. It was talking about entering the void, and you had written a guided meditation about entering the void. What do you think the void is? What is the void?
Well, to be honest, I was first introduced to this concept on a meditational level through Dr. Joe. Dr. Joe has an amazing void meditation. So I was being a little bit of a copycat when I did my void meditation. But the reason it calls to me is that in quantum physics, we understand the void is not a void. It's actually a place that is the absolute opposite of the void. It's where all possibilities exist. And in terms of consciousness, in meditation, entering the void personally is when you release all the things that you have attached to your identity, your past, even your gender, your culture, all the things that you use to define you. And you enter into this, you release all of those things that you use to identify yourself. And as you do, when we do the work of shifting our realities into moving into different timelines, and the only thing that's limiting us and holding us back is all the things we bring in with us, all the baggage that we bring with us. So when we go into that void and just release all of it, more opportunities, more possibilities, more potentials open up to us. If I go into that void and release the fact that I'm a 50-year-old man that grew up in Wyoming, that lives in the United States, that read these books, that studied these things, that has these beliefs, if I just release everything, then suddenly new opportunities, new possibilities start entering in. There are infinite possibilities available to every one of us, but we usually are not going to access those possibilities because we have all these things that we have attached to ourselves that limit what we're able to move into. So the void is this powerful process that opens up those other possibilities. It can open up if you had lived a different past. It can open up if you had different interests, beliefs, experiences. that you had in your past. It can open up if you have different political beliefs, cultural beliefs. It can open up if you lived in a different area. When you truly enter the void and open up to it completely and release who you are, then magic starts to happen. That's when those infinite potentials open up to you. When you come out of it, suddenly you're seeing and accessing possibilities that weren't available to you before. That's the power of the void. The void is where all possibilities exist.
Yes, I love it. It's the 0 point of all of everything. That's where all affinity is. I go there a lot. It's my It's my go-to place.
It's the go-to place. It is. Once you go, it becomes a sort of an addiction. What Vadim Zeland calls the space of variations, the place where all possibilities exist.
Okay. Do you think certain people feel called to this material for a reason?
I do. I do think that people are on a certain path, that have a certain journey. They've sort of planned out for themselves prior to their incarnation. And part of their soul's journey and purpose is to awaken a creative ability within them, to influence their reality and to be of service to others in some ways. And so what this material does is it awakens that memory, that idea, that purpose on their journey. So some people might access the material and it's just in the YouTube video. And then some people are like, okay, I'm here for a reason now. I understand why I'm here. And in many ways, it awakens some inner understanding of their soul's path. And in your case, it might be you start to remember who you truly are, like where you come from somewhere else, or you understand, you awaken powers and ideas, your true personality. Many people have come to me who've accessed simple videos, a Neville Goddard video or a meditation where they remember that they're from another star system, that they have a purpose on this journey. It's really fascinating to watch that. I do think we all have a purpose beyond just a few of us, that we're in a classroom on this planet, and we're learning how to create our reality. We're accessing our power. I'm a believer that we're all divine, and we're learning how to access our God power, and that this is a laboratory where we're awakening this power. Some people more than others. Some people have a very unique role in this. But in many cases, when people truly access this and see their power, that's when they awaken to the reason that they're here, that they're in this sort of an illusion and learning how to control control it.
Yeah, and be a co-creative force. I know for me, the first time I ever heard the term starseed was from you. It was it was a long time ago. Whenever you first were like throwing out the idea, and I'm like, wait a minute, starseed. Wait, starseed. I'm like, wait, I'm a starseed. That's what explains it all. That's the definition I can put it. Or it helped. It helped me like pull together a definition of who I was, which is I don't feel like I'm just from one star system. I'm a Starseed Essence, which means essence of everything, which has all the star systems within it.
Oh, awesome. Do you have memories? Do you have images and memories from?
I have memories. They're okay. The way I just explain it is we come in here forgetting for a reason, okay, to be here. Yeah. And it is a rule, and I follow the rules. I like rules. I'm a little type A personality. Rules are important to me. Yeah. And I feel like some of this stuff we can remember it subconsciously, but it cannot be in the forefront. It's something about a rule. If it's always in the forefront, maybe, well, I'll say for me personally, I'm not speaking for everybody else. For me personally, I had given myself this rule that it's not always supposed to be at the forefront, but I have so much in me, like of memories of past lives, like a ton of them, not just one, like a bunch of, but it's not like blue people walking on a planet or flying in a ship, which I have flown in ships in my dream states before. and
Yeah.
I've met a blue being a couple times that came to me
Oh,
in a blue
wow.
orb, stuff like that. But
Have you ever done a QHHT session?
yeah, I have. My
Oh,
the
isn't it
first one I ever
interesting?
yeah, the first one I did, I went into a fractal of a proton of light. So I was just light inside of a DNA. That's all I was. I
Oh,
was
wow.
basically all of it.
Oh,
So I went there
wow.
first. Yeah. And the lady that was doing it
An
was like,
uncommon place to go first in a QHHT session.
that's what she said. She's like, wow, like, what are you? And then I talked about portals a lot because I could see the stargates, which I didn't understand what I was
Right.
it took me years of thinking about it over and over. Like, what was that? I was seeing like stargates, and I was seeing a lot of Greek stuff, like from ancient Greek,
Oh, wow.
like pillars and the
Mhm.
leaf thing and whatever they call it. You know, I'm talking about it has like the leaf
The
wreath
architecture.
thing. Yeah, I
Right.
saw that a lot.
Yeah.
Have you ever had any QHHTs?
I did one QHHT session. It was so crazy. I actually recorded an episode that I never released because it was so crazy. Like, I was like, I don't know if I can share this with people. Yeah,
What was it?
Well, the side note that I will give is that I questioned it afterwards because at the time we were taking care of my son-in-law's lizard. It was like a little lizard that we had in a tank in our garage, and that we had to feed. We had to feed him worms and bugs.
Oh my
And so I felt like I was deeply influenced by that. But in the QHHT session, I had been some sort of lizard, and I had been born from an egg. But I was like this intellectual that had no, that could not. I had no, like I was not a feeling person. I was like the intellectual, and I was working with a group, and I was sent by needle of some kind, sort of through the void, to come to Earth. And it felt like I was fresh. I had a fresh memory of the lizard, and I was like, I don't know, man. This feels like it's too connected to what I had experienced. Because they tell you when you do the QHHT, like, open your imagination. But I did have some experience in the QHHT, and so I'd like to go back where I saw these epic space battles. Those were the ones that felt the most authentic. Like, this is so detailed and rich beyond like a movie. I was seeing this huge, just devastated by this huge intergalactic battle that was happening, unlike anything in a movie that I had seen. And I had been a part of like a intergalactic group that was sort of separate, that I had never really heard of. They're sort of these researchers that their whole goal is not to judge, just to accumulate as much physical information as possible and to share it. So my goal, my soul's purpose from being in that group was not necessarily to save the planet or anything. It's just to acquire as much information so that when I moved on, I could share all my information that I had got from my life. So that's why I had become such a avid reader, that I had just constantly reading fiction books, and it was just like I'm acquiring, because I'm just a research. I'm like some kind of researcher that, as much information as I watch, as many movies, read as many books, experience as much as possible to share it when I was done. And so there's some sort of project that, even though they have access to the Akashic, it was sort of an experiential, informational project. That felt more interesting to me. But the lizard thing, I was having issues with that. Like, there's no way I can't be this.
Well, the second one I did, I came back as a Sasquatch. So I was
as a Sasquatch, right?
Yeah, I was like the leader Sasquatch.
Oh, well, we talking about the Law of One. They mentioned the Sasquatch in the Law of One as from Maldek, like that they had come from. They were souls that had come from Maldek that were living on Earth, still going through. So maybe that means you were on Maldek.
It could be.
It could.
I was surprised that it was the first thing. I'm like, well, actually, I'm a Sasquatch. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, it was there's a part of you that doesn't want to be this thing that you're seeing, and that was what was interesting. Like, I don't want to be a lizard. I don't want to be a lizard person.
I know.
um,
Well, I got certified to do the hypnosis technique,
yeah,
and when I opened up the Healing Arts Studio, I did several, and I had a few people come back as like red dragons and dragons mainly with scales, like
yeah.
intricately remembering this stuff. So who knows? I mean, it's
Why is it that dragons are mentioned in the Bible and dragons are in literature? It feels like there's something real about it. And I've
I
read so
know.
much fantasy writing that that there's so much about dragons that there's clearly something going on with the idea of the dragon that's being
Yeah,
pulled
it
up
is.
from somewhere. Yeah,
Yeah, and it's been flipped too. It's been flipped around. I believe dragons are good. I believe they're. I mean, they're this
yeah.
magnificent interdimensional being. You can actually
The
have
the,
a
the
pet
concept of
dragon.
the dragons, yeah. The concept of the dragons that really feels right to me is a magical creature that or they're sort of immortal that can that can appear as avatars with human bodies. The reason that they accumulate so much, like that they have the gold stash, is that they're immortal, and so they gather up. And so it's more than just this being, this lizard-like creature. That they are these beings, and so I feel like there's dragons we meet, like that. Some, I don't know, that I've felt like that to me is realistic. I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah, I know. I would be. I mean, I'd be the same as you. Like, oh, because you hear about the Draco and that they're bad, and
right,
I don't really think anything is all bad or all good anyway. If you're
exactly.
here,
Yeah,
everything, there's good and bad in everything. Like there's good
hmm,
humans, bad humans,
I
and
agree
good
with that.
dogs and bad dogs, good bears and bad
Yeah,
bears. So
there can, some stereotypes can be mostly correct. So I believe that there are like some races that are clearly in the majority. That's how they are, but there's nothing that's 100%. There's always a subgroup or group that's the complete opposite. And so if you're being realistic with it, there's good Dracos, there's good Orions, there's all that stuff. At
it's
least that
true.
would be my, yeah,
That's what
understanding
I
of it.
understand, but that's me. I don't push my beliefs
Yeah,
onto. I just understand that and know that wholeheartedly. What do
yeah.
you think when people when what do you think people mean when they talk about the new Earth? What is a new Earth to you? Kind of like it's just a brief synopsis of the
Oh, don't
new
get me
Earth.
started. I think it's really natural for me to, when I evaluate consciousness and I look at the levels of consciousness that we're going through some sort of evolution. We can see it on our planet, from the amoeba to the insect to the dog and cat to the second density beings like dolphins. We can see levels of consciousness just on our planet. And we move into the human, and this level of consciousness that we're in, is there another level of consciousness that moves beyond it? And it would appear that we are moving through a process of evolution, that we're on the cusp of it, that we're actually experiencing a movement from something like a dog or cat into a human. So what is the level from human to the next? And so the new earth is mentioned in the Bible, and it's talked about in multiple different disciplines and different histories. There's been a discussion in almost every religion of golden age, a new time when the earth moves beyond into something different. And then you start to have channeled experiences that are channelings that are describing this evolution, like the Law of One, that describes that we're third density beings moving into another density of experience, of consciousness. And so my experientially, as you look back for the last 10 years and you look at how your consciousness has changed over the last 10 years, that's what I'm seeing, is the new earth is a new level of consciousness that we're moving towards. And I believe that we're in a unique period of time. Part of the reason why we're here is that we're experiencing in real time the transition from one level of consciousness to another. Now, different disciplines talk about what that consciousness is, and I don't think we've fully come to grips with it. The Law of One describes a social memory complex where we move beyond just individual beings into a group being that has a sort of group mind, a social memory complex where you are me, I am you. We're as a group. I know everything about you. You know everything about me. And so it's interesting from that understanding, watching the changes on the planet that we go through. First of all, it's all subtle. It's over a very long period of time. We're in a window of it. But we suddenly notice that all the truths come out. That's one of the interesting things. Like, all the truths are being revealed. The closet's being opened. We're seeing people that we held up as heroes that turn out to be like the worst kind of people. We're seeing the skeletons come out. And more and more in my own consciousness, when I watching TV or watching something, I know the truth about someone. And maybe not as much as I used to, but now I know I can see somebody and I know everything about them. I can see that they're bullshitting. I can see that they're not what they say to be. And so what is happening? We're also seeing people, the true version of people, come out. So I don't believe that we're seeing changes, but when we look at the world, it feels like it's chaos. It's crazy. What's going on? We're seeing the true version of people come out, and we're actually seeing that true version. We see people react too. When we see an injustice happen over here, and in the old days, it's like, oh, that's so sad. And now it feels like that is us, that injustice is happening to. And you hear a vocal crowd that says, that's not fair. We can't let this happen. This is wrong. We didn't see that sort of on a group scale, people reacting to things that are happening in the world, saying, but also we see forces that know about this change in consciousness that are manipulating that know about the group response, that are creating these events that seem like they're real or not. And then we're starting to understand on a larger scale how we're being manipulated. I mean, we're going through this long-term process. I feel like we're going to come out the other side, and it's going to be a completely different level of consciousness that we're moving towards. The new Earth is, we also will have an entire world of people with abilities that can channel, that can read thoughts, that can move things telekinetically, that can heal, that amazing abilities that start to develop over time, an entire group of people. And we're going to have to come to grips with that. We're going to have to come to grips in understanding our thoughts begin to manifest almost immediately. And in the past, we might have a thought and then we see it manifest months later. And that window is shortening and shortening and shortening. We're entering a time where there's such a very short period of time from what we think into what we see. I've done hundreds of videos to try to understand my concepts of the new Earth. I still don't think I completely understand it, but I'm fascinated by it. And I do feel like that's one of the reasons I'm here, is that I'm here to help people move through this transition into the new Earth. I feel like there's a whole group of people that are coming into their power that are not aware of it. I feel like somebody needs to say, okay, this is how you do this. This is how you create your reality. This is what's happening when you see something that you thought come about. This is how you balance your emotions. This is how you meditate. I feel like a calling, like somebody's coming along saying, you're going through this change in consciousness. I'm going to help you with it so that you can understand what's happening, because there's a whole group of people that are not aware of what's happening, if that makes sense.
That does make sense. And, I see it happening. It's unfolding right now, this new Earth, and I'm just happy about it. It's not all love and light. Nothing ever is, but that's the dualistic nature of this reality. Well, Brian, thank you so much for coming on. It means a lot to me. And
thank you, Eva.
You're one of my heroes.
You're one of my heroes too. Thank you.
I'm not just saying that, really. I'm like, you were with me in spirit through some things, some major shifts that took place in my life, and I really do appreciate it.
Thank you for supporting the channel all these years. Thank you.
Well, you're welcome. And to the audience, I want to say thank you for watching, and I'm going to link Brian Scott's channel below, and I'll link in his book too, and I'm looking forward to your new book. I'm glad I'm sitting here holding this one. It might be backwards for you, I don't know, but it's a great book. Perfect. I love it, and thank you for watching. I'm gonna do a little heart. I figured out thank you for watching. And if this resonates with you, please like, share, subscribe, and comment below. If you have questions, if you have any questions about this, please interact, engage. It means so much. And thank you for watching. Namaste.